The Japanese dragon, known as Ryu or Tatsu, is a legendary creature native to Japan. Like other dragons, Ryu is a large and fantastical being resembling a serpent and is related to the Chinese dragon lóng and the Korean dragon yong. The Japanese dragon has a long, snake-like body covered in scales, but lacks wings. Its appearance is a mixture of various animals, featuring a reptilian body, tiger claws, eagle talons, a hairy camel's head, ox ears, and deer antlers. Its demonic eyes give it a fierce and impressive look. Ryu has undergone various stages of development over thousands of years before becoming a dragon. Initially existing as a snake, it then transformed into a carp. Over centuries, it acquired its famous goat beard before developing clawed legs and a tail. At the end of this long metamorphosis process, it developed horns that allowed it to distinguish sounds and a crest that enabled it to fly upon reaching adulthood. The Japanese dragon, Ryu, possesses superior powers such as undergoing metamorphosis, extending its body, and even becoming invisible. It can also take on a human form. Japanese dragons have only 3 claws, distinguishing them from the Chinese dragon lóng, which has 5 claws, and the Korean dragon yong, which has 4 claws. Japanese dragons typically live in the sea, as Japan is an island nation and much of its geography is surrounded by water. Ryu is one of the 4 celestial creatures in Japanese mythology. The other 3 are the phoenix, the turtle, and the tiger. Ryu often holds a special status as a symbol of the emperor or a hero. Most of the dragons mentioned in Japanese mythology are inspired by real events in the country's history and serve as didactic tales reflecting specific cultural and economic contexts. There are 5 types of Japanese dragons: the celestial dragon, protector of the kami; the spiritual dragon, god of wind and rain; the earth dragon, guardian of rivers and oceans; the treasure dragon, protector of precious stones and treasures; the imperial dragon, symbol of the Chinese dynasty. Japanese dragons were first mentioned in the ancient books Kojiki, AD 680, and Nihongi, AD 720, which contain legends originating from Japan. The most well-known stories are those of Yamata no Orochi, Watatsumi, and Mizuchi. In this video, we will focus on the stories of these well-known Japanese dragons, each with its unique characteristics and tales. Mizuchi. In one of Japan's rural areas by the Kawashima River, there lived a dragon feared and respected by the people. This dragon, named Mizuchi, hid in the depths of the river and occasionally surfaced to spray venom at travelers. The local inhabitants were very cautious when walking along the riverbank to protect themselves from Mizuchi's wrath. One day, a brave warrior named Agatamori decided to put an end to Mizuchi's reign of terror. Agatamori approached the riverbank where the dragon resided and challenged it. He threw 3 gourds into the water before Mizuchi and made an offer to the dragon. If Mizuchi could not sink the gourds, Agatamori declared, he would kill it. Mizuchi used its shape-shifting ability to transform into a deer and tried to sink the gourds. However, no matter how hard it tried, it couldn't submerge them. When Agatamori saw the dragon's failure, he acted as promised and killed Mizuchi. The dragon's blood mixed with the river, turning its waters red. After this event, the river came to be known as Agatamori Pool. The story of Mizuchi symbolizes the struggle of people during that era against floods and natural disasters. Offering sacrifices to rivers was a tradition aimed at gaining the gods' favor and preventing floods. Mizuchi's defeat represents humanity's victory over nature and the impact of this triumph on society. Watatsumi. In one of the world's deepest seas, there rose a magnificent palace known as Ryugu-jo. Ryugu-jo is a stunning palace made of red and white coral, hidden beneath the sea. This palace was built by the inhabitants of the ocean and is depicted as a place served by marine creatures. The gates of Ryugujo are guarded by sea turtles, fish, jellyfish, and snakes. The ruler of this palace was Watatsumi, the lord of the seas and oceans. These creatures acted under Watatsumi's commands and helped him control the tides with his magical jewels. Watatsumi was known not only for his power over the seas, but also for his generosity and justice. The waters he ruled provided a refuge for shipwrecked sailors and a source of hope for lost treasures. One day, a young and handsome man named Huri set out to sea to search for his brother's lost fishhook. While drifting among the waves, he encountered the beautiful Otohime, one of Watatsumi's daughters. When their eyes met, even the seas seemed to pause to witness their love. Otohime's beauty was more precious than the brightest pearl of the sea, and Huri fell in love with her at first sight. Watatsumi, placing his daughter's happiness above all else, allowed this union. Huri and Otohime were married in the golden halls of Ryugujo. However, over time, Huri longed to return to the land. He realized he couldn't go back without finding his brother's hook and asked Watatsumi for help. The sea god sent his servants into the depths, and eventually, the hook was found inside a fish. Huri and Otohime returned to the land with the hook and lived a happy life there. The children born from this marriage became the ancestors of Japan's first emperors. This story serves to prove that the emperors were not just human, but also divine in origin, affirming their godlike status in the eyes of the people. Yamata no Orochi. In the ancient lands of Izumo, along the banks of the high river, there lived a monstrous creature that defied the heavens. This creature, known as Yamata no Orochi, was a tangible embodiment of fear and horror, with its 8 heads and 8 tails. Each head represented the power of an element, the flow of water, the solidity of earth, the speed of wind, the flash of lightning, the brightness of light, the mystery of darkness, and the deadly touch of poison. Every year, a maiden was sacrificed to appease Orochi's hunger. This dark tradition plunged the Koshi people into despair. However, fate took a turn when on the day the 8th and youngest maiden was to be sacrificed, the wind god Susanoo appeared. Enchanted by Princess Kushinada's beauty, Susanoo made a deal. He would marry the princess in exchange for destroying Orochi. Susanoo's plan was both brave and cunning. He had an 8-gated fence constructed and placed sturdy barrels filled with sake under each gate, a concoction Orochi couldn't resist. Like the calm before a storm, nature stood still to witness this battle. And finally, Orochi arrived. Enchanted by the scent of sake, the monster drank until it fell into a drunken stupor. Susanoo approached quietly and carefully. While Orochi slept, he systematically cut off each of its heads with his sword. With the final blow, the semblance cloud sword emerging from Orochi's body became the eternal symbol of Susanoo's victory. This epic struggle was not just the defeat of a monster, but also the triumph of the human spirit. The marriage of Susanoo and Princess Kushinada marked the beginning of a new era in the Izumo lands. The stories of these dragons are part of Japan's rich mythological heritage. The dragon's abilities to shapeshift, fly, and other superior qualities make them not only feared beings, but also revered protectors. The tales of Japanese dragons have left deep traces in art, literature, and folklore. These dragons hold significant importance in Japanese culture as symbols of power, wisdom, and harmony with nature. The narratives of dragons provide valuable clues to understanding the Japanese people's relationship with nature and its cultural reflections.